be the sun when you can't shine, and when the world runs out of time, I'll be there too. Too many people, too blind to see. Too many roller coaster rides won't set you free. So chase the rainbow, chase the high, become the brightest in the sky. When the world runs out of time, you'll come to me. And I'll be waiting to catch you when you fall, to see you through it all. Don't turn your face away from me, 'cause I'll be waiting all through eternity. I'll be there patiently. Don't take your love away from me. When you feel helpless, when you are low, I'll be the light upon the path to guide you home. I'll fill the spaces in your heart. I will remind you who you are. And when you shine just like a star, I'll let you go. And I'll be waiting to catch you when you fall, to see you through it all. Don't turn your face away from me, 'cause I'll be waiting all through eternity. I'll be there patiently. Don't take your love away from me. When you are weary, here's what I'll do. When you can't smile anymore, I'll smile for you. I'll be the raindrops when you cry. I'll be the sun when you can shine. And when the world runs out of time, I'll be there too. When the world runs out of time, I'll be there too. I'll be there too.
Om Shanti and good evening from Bharat, as I'm hosting from here, just in lockdown. But then those who are listening and viewing through this Zoom and YouTube also, to all of them, most welcome. And we have Brother Prashant Kakoday, all the way from Cambridge, UK. And so it's a great pleasure and a fortune for us to listen to him. And here I'm introducing him because there are many new souls who are wanting to know who is this wonderful angel who has been welcomed. So Dr. Prashant Kakoday, born in India, presently based in Cambridge. He did his diploma in ENT surgery for the Royal College of Surgeons in London in 1982. For the past 30 years, he has involved himself in the understanding and teaching the spiritual and holistic principles of life and health. His views on health, entitled The Concept of Total Health, was presented to various medical institutions, including World Health Organization. His main interests are in the field of psyche, emotions, behavior, and health. He is himself a student and a teacher of meditation with Brahma Kumari Spiritual University. He feels that present day society is conditioned into limitations and that a fundamental shift is necessary for this civilization to survive. His ideas and consciousness and health have led to him being invited to speak in more than 80 countries. He has spoken at various universities, medical schools, and organizations, including the United Nations in Geneva. He presently coordinates the Inner Space and the Center of Brahma Kumaris for and the Integral Health in Cambridge in UK. It's a great pleasure to invite Brother Dr. Prashant Kakoday. I personally attended his retreats and one-day retreats also. So I have really benefited, especially his meditations and his approach towards Raj Yoga meditation, the way he deals. It's really very inspirational. And so I'm sure that you all will take a very powerful experience now. So with a round of applause, Meenalben, do you have wonderful flowers? Meenal Ben is a sister, a young little angel who is just left at Lagos Center. Reva Didi is the in charge, and she is in London at present. And I am in Bharat, and she's taking care of Baba's activities in Lagos Brahma Kumari Center. Meenal Ben, are you there? From Lighthouse? Yes, these are the flowers, and she is the little angel who is taking care, along with Brother Gagan and Sister Ongkoyo and Brother Eta. These are the flowers from Baba's special garden. So, especially flowers are very rare to be found in Lagos, but then we have it for Baba's Bhog. Thank you, sister.
So nice.
Prashant, I hope you liked.
Yes, it was so nice. It is such a beautiful gesture, and we received it in spirit.
Prashant, can you please switch on your video?
It's on.
So that's right. Yeah, got the right spotlight. Good.
Yes. Thank you and for introduction. And so nice to connect to Lagos. And it is nice for me to meet all of you. Hopefully we meet in Madhuban, or definitely remind me that we met like this. We got some 40 minutes. So during this time, let us take the subject in some details. I'm going to show the slides, and this will help us build the subject of the new consciousness.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Prashant, but a small, humble request. You may please take for 1 hour, and then the question and answer will follow.
Sure. Let us see. There is another appointment. So I will have to leave at a certain time. Let us see how it goes.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
So we will see the slides. And these slides will help us build a concept. So here we are seeing some magic that happens through our consciousness, through our mind. And there are these science institutions who are studying this subject. You get a website here, like Scientific Medical Network. It is a gathering of academics from different universities, and they are interested in paranormal. That's why they meet here. So also the Society for Psychical Research. That's on window had come. And you will see the websites there. And if you go into these websites, you get connected to their books and their research and papers. And then that might also connect you to other similar organizations. Kind of things they study include out of body experiences. And in this, they see um, the body from beyond. You know, the word used is out. A person sees himself separate from the body, often near the ceiling, looking down on the body. We all might have heard of these experiences, people talking about this. But there are these people who study thoroughly, meet those people, and find out exactly what is going on. And they say there are 50 million people on this planet who have out of body experience. Request to mute your phone. Where it can maybe that person, sometimes the living person, but you are seeing another place. Telepathy is a phenomena where communication happens from man to man, human to animal, through thoughts.
We were waiting for people. Oh no. But we should just start from now.
So that is called telepathy, communication through thoughts. As an example, Richard, and in all these cases, they are studying this by science methodology, and they say that all these things do happen. People do have apparitions. They see sometimes a group of 10 people. They all see some person walking. Sometimes just one person in their gathering sees, not all. So what is going on? They try to study this. Telepathy is communication through thoughts. As an example, Richard leaves office at 5 o'clock, and his dog at home, 10 miles away, goes to the door at 5 o'clock. Richard leaves office next day at 7 o'clock, and dog goes to the door at 7 o'clock. So that is telepathy. Reincarnation, we'll see it in more details today. And that is what is going to help us today understand this subject even better. But these are like a nice phenomena. Poltergeist is in the presence of the person, things disappear and reappear. That is called poltergeist. For example, one example, a person takes out his boxes from the car and want to take other boxes, and then suddenly it notices that his earlier boxes have disappeared. He says, what happened? Anyway, but he is trying to take these remaining boxes into the house, opens the lock of the room, and the earlier boxes are already in the house. And he says, am I mad? I didn't take these boxes in. What happened? So this is called poltergeist. Psychic healing is another phenomena where mind influences the healing process. Very well known. It happens everywhere. Precognition is seeing the future, and under experimental conditions, this happens. And miracles, of course, we know this. In these examples, we are seeing all these cases happen with the mind. Consciousness is influencing. Multiple personality syndrome is a phenomenon where in one body there are as if two personalities. And as the personality changes, it changes, and during the day it may change sometimes, few times. So as the personality changes, the illness of the body also changes. In the morning, he has asthma. In the evening, asthma disappears. Personality has changed, but the body also changes at this level. In one state, he has allergy. When the personality changes, he is not allergic. So this is shows how much our mind influences the body, health, illness. The shift of consciousness takes place. Here we're just seeing how the mind and consciousness is affecting, our life. This is what we are seeing in some of these phenomena. So we can demonstrate what that multiple personality in this image, where there's one body, two personalities, we can call them two souls using the same body. Here we are going to study, understand the subject of reincarnation. Lots of work on this, very thorough work is done by Professor Ian Stevenson. In 1960s, early 60s, he came across one child. That child was brought to him by the mother, and this child is talking about another life, and mother is worried about this, confused. Ian Stevenson, psychiatrist there, he tried to get as much information from this child as possible. And based on that information, he was able to locate that family where the child was talking about. And he found that 40 facts that the child was talking about matched with the reality. So I know this was like a big area. He published that case in the Psychiatry Journal of America, and this is in 60s. He got lots of interest, and he got grants, to study this more. And more he published, more grants he got. And so in time, he was able to establish a proper department within the university. Now it is called Division for Personality Studies. And he had a team of people, and he has parapsychologists who were working with him in different countries and different cities. And over a period of time, he had cases from all 5 continents, and very good cases, thoroughly studied, good cases. Today, they have got 24,000 cases of children who remember another life. And based on this, all huge data, they can see a pattern. They can see what happens in these cases, how the things change, or is there any pattern? That's what they can see. These are good cases because we can see how the consciousness is affecting our life. And we are able to see it, through his studies. So he has written books. He has got many publications, and if you just type this name, Professor Ian Stevenson, in Google, you get connected to his web pages. Also, you get connected to his books and photographs. You will get a very, very interesting information about reincarnation. He is not a religious person. He is a scientist, and so he is just getting the facts, and how interesting to see the information matches with what we learn here. And so just to give you some idea about his observations with these 24,000 cases, we just need one good case to to tell us that this phenomena exists or doesn't exist. You got 24,000 good cases. Some of these cases, they know everything of the other life. Details. You show them a photograph, group photograph of people, and it tells you who is who. It tells the names of people, including the dog, Bruno. It tells this child of 3 years, 4 years, this child has not been to other place at all. It doesn't even know the physics in this life, that other city, but it talks about, it tells you. So more than 40 facts, but in some cases, and when we say some, thousands of cases, they know all the details. But also, some people don't remember everything. They remember some things. Most remember the last phase. They remember the moment of death, how they died. That is very prominent in most people. These mothers, in large majority of them, have something called prophetic dream. This is another interesting phenomena. Mother gets a dream, and in the dream, the deceased person comes and tells, I am going to be born in a certain, I'm going to be born to you, tells the mother, would be mother. And mothers is bit amused by this, but in time the child is born, and then after the child is of a certain age, talks about his past life, and it matched with what she experienced in the dream. Feel free to ask anything. It is going to be more a discussion, and I like to have a discussion. So this is like one phenomena, this prophetic dream. In um, in most cases, these children start remembering the past life at the age of 2. They forget by the age of 6. This is in large majority of cases. In very few percentage, they remember it beyond the age of 6. Some forget before the age of 6. As the new impressions come, the old impressions are wiped out, and which is good. Those who do remember the past through the life, they remain very unsettled. They still live in the past life, and they can't accept this new life. That is a problem that happens in some cases. Something called phobia and philia. In some cases, in these cases, those who remember the past life, they have strong dislike, fear, often connected to their death in the past life. If they died of drowning, in this life they have fear of water. If they died of car accident, they have fear of getting in the car. So they have something called phobia and philia. They like everything of the past. If in the past life they were in a certain culture, they like that culture, they like the religion, they like that town, they like those people, they like that gender. There is philia. They like everything of the past life. So much so that they tell their mother, the real mother in this life, you are not my mother. My mother is other person is my mother. And she will come and collect me and I'll go there and soon. And they like that other family, other life. Even if that other family is poorer, they still like that. There is that kind of a bond and that kind of relationship. So we use the word phobia and philia that happens, connected with the past life. One thing that is seen, they can cross the boundaries. So if they are in one town, they can be born in completely different country. They can be born in different race, different religion. They can be born in different gender. This is possible. But large majority are born within the same community. To be reborn within the same family is very common. So if someone dies and a child is born in that uh, family, in nearby family, within the year, it is very likely the same soul is reborn. So birth within the same family is very common. And that is very interesting observation in this. But we said they can cross the boundaries, but not one case where they have gone into animal world or talk about coming from an animal world. In all these cases, they talk about human birth in the earlier life. I'm talking here 24,000 cases. All so we stay at the human level as in his observations. Now, there are a lot more interesting aspects. Maybe one more aspect I would like to touch here. If someone has lived complete life, by that we mean who has lived more than beyond the age of 20, 30, and ordinary life, there is just a life going on, nothing bad. But in the subsequent life, the rebirth is in a lower social hierarchy. So the rebirth in a lower social hierarchy is a pattern that is seen. In cases where they have died very young, below the age of 6, 8, that sort of age, they died as a child. In these cases, they do not go into the lower social hierarchy. But in large other majority of the cases, they go down the social hierarchy. You can understand why. They do not know why, but if we use our insight in the karma, after a certain age, the person goes into vices, mind is into vices, and the karma changes, and that reflects, with the birth. So lower social hierarchy. Every society has a hierarchy. Now, the most interesting area for us is injury from one life is seen into the next life. That is of great interest for us and the subject of today. So here we are seeing a case where a child is born without these fingers. This happened in a certain part of India. And he remembers the life of another boy who lost fingers in a fodder chopping machine some years earlier. It is in a neighboring village. And so he is born with exactly the same fingers. But in this case, he remembers the other life even when he was 18 years of age. We got a video of this person talking. So he lost a finger, same thing. But this is a very, very common phenomena. If someone is shot with a gun in the head, in the next life, he will have a circular scar in the area where he was shot. You will see this situation. Ian Stevenson has got a book that is called Birth Defects and Reincarnation. He has got thousands of cases of all kinds of injuries and scars, with children born. One man was hung, he was hanged um, for criminal behavior before, and so he is so he died. But a person born, child born in the same city, this is in Burma, and he's born with a very narrow neck and almost underdeveloped mandible. You look at his face, it appears as if he was hanged in this life. So the whole life he has to drink liquid foods. This is another case. Thailand, person was hit on the head, died. In the next, this child born with the scar on the head remembers the life of the farmer in the earlier life where he was hit on the head and how he died. He remembers that. You will also see that he is born within the family. Something similar. In this case, there was an ulcer on the toe, and in the next life, the malformation continues in exactly the same toe. Now, let us see how to understand all this. We see that here is a body, and there is a soul, of course. Person dies to the body. So the only thing that survives is the soul, and the consciousness goes with him. And what we are seeing, all the cognitive functions are at the level of the soul, including impressions, but all cognitive functions. It means functions of emotions and thinking and feelings of hope, love, all these are happening at the level of the soul. And so this goes with him, and that will create in influence. In other words, the consciousness goes with him. Impression is one part of it. Let us say in this small example, this is a small accident, and say in this accident a person loses the fingers. Just an example. Say you lose your wallet, you lose the car key. It remains on your mind. You feel, oh, I lost a key. You don't just forget it straight away. Here he loses the finger, that impression remains. And that is shown with the image F there. So just the impression, I lost my finger. Now he dies there. He's into another body, but the impression goes with him, still there. And what we are seeing here is this impression actually influences the body in the womb. At the age of 3, the embryo is just in a little more than an inch in size. So 3 months pregnancy. So sometimes after the soul comes in the womb, and it is influencing the body. So gets a wound there. And loses the finger. Here is the second case, injury on the head. It creates an impression and creates a reality. And we saw the third case with the toe. It creates an impression and creates a reality. Now this gives us some idea, that how it is. All these cases are as if seen in the laboratory, and we have got evidence. We can see that how it is happening. Based on this, we can create speculation. We can speculate how this consciousness will affect our social life. So here is an example of a person who has attachment to his money. So every day before going to bed, he opens his bag, he counts his money. He is very happy. Is it wrong to be attached to money? Understand, yeah? Now, attachment to money by itself may be nothing wrong, but last moment, what will be the thought? Last moment, the reality is money is here, you are going in another direction. You can't take your money with you. And the more the attachment, your last impression is, I lost my money. Imagine something is really important for you, and then you are going. That is what you will remember. I'm losing. So the last impression will be, I'm poor, I'm losing. And that impression will go with you. I'm without my money. I'm without whatever that you are attached to. I'm poor. P for poor. Empty. I'm an unfortunate. This feeling. I'm a loser. Now that impression is born. And that impression will influence his reality. That will create his future. Psychic impressions have so much influence. That is why we hear, antimate sogate. Last thought leads you to your destination. It is not that last thought you think of gold, you will get gold. It is not like that. It is opposite. More the attachment, last thought will be opposite, of loser. So here is the example of attachment to children. Mine, my children. So you are thinking of the children, worrying about children. And so you're proud of children, mine. But the last impression will be, I'm losing my children. I'm without children. I'm without children. You're born with the impression, I'm without children. And this psychic impression have this amazing effect, through the life. So the person receives, he invites those situations, have problems in relationships with children. Children want to run away or difficulty in having children. So let us see this world where attachment is to everything, not just to few things, but attachment to food and attachment to objects and iPod and music. The present world is world of attachments, and when you are going in that direction, then last thought you are losing everything. That means you are loser on every front. And this impression, I lose, I'm a loser, that impression goes with you. And that is not very good, because this impression will create a reality, and invite misfortune of whatever area here, attachment, that area, that will be misfortune. Anyone want to say anything? As we said, like some interaction. Sound is okay so far?
The sound is good.
Uh-huh. Maybe let me hear from the Africa some thoughts. Anyone want to share any thoughts? Gautami can hear me? Sound is okay?
Yes, Prashant bhai.
You want to say anything or any comments on what we spoke so far? Or you want to add anything?
I totally agree with you with regard to reincarnation and the illustrations that you have mentioned. Certainly, they support. But I would like to listen more about.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So here we saw, how the attachments create problem. So that gives us an insight into how detachment, what will be the attitude if there is a detachment. So here is the attitude of a one who says he is a soul. He is not from this world. He is just visiting this world. He owns nothing, and so he loses nothing. He says, I got to exit. Just like you are visiting someone's house and you got to exit. You can't own anything in that house. In the same way, this awake soul says, I can't own one atom of this world. I got to exit and I lose nothing. So at the time of death, he feels he has got nothing to lose because he did not own anything in the first place. He goes with the impression of fullness. And that fullness is born with that fullness. If you feel you lose nothing, what remains is you're full. And that fullness is born with. And this influences the reality for him. That creates the reality. It creates fortune and fullness. Just remaining soul conscious in a true sense. Soul conscious, of course, means he knows everything here is a drama, and you can't own anything from a theater. It is all, including the body, it is all material for the theater. And the soul knows that he got to exit. He can't own one atom of this world. That soul says this. So at the time of death, okay, part finished, I'm going. So he lives with the feeling of fullness. And as a result, its influence is of fullness. What a beautiful secret. Now let us come to another consciousness. And here we are talking about the one who is detached, but there is also God in his life. So it is not like how someone say God, God, God. He is doing puja and worship God. But imagine a person for whom God is in his life. God is important, his friend. His companion is God. There are some monasteries, nuns, who say they are marrying to God. This kind of language is used. But let us say one person, he is soul conscious, of course. So soul is awake, and the soul is aware that his life is with God. He belongs to God, is his friend, a deep feeling of friendship with God, company of God. He feels good about this. His world is at a subtle level, invisible level. And he knows he's in the story, in this big theater, just for a short time. That's the way he approaches. So you see that ring shows soul and the Father. That represents his consciousness. As we said, different to just someone is doing some God worship, but his attitude is all very much in the physical world. The difference here is he may not be talking about God at all. He may not be doing any worship and ringing bells, nothing at all. But in his heart, he feels God is the most important thing for him. He feels in this temporary world, he cannot have anyone. No one belongs to him. Not one atom belongs to him. And that is the way it is. So that's what is represented by that circle that represents that consciousness. We use the language alpha, beta for this. Soul consciousness, and he's aware of God, God's world, that reality beyond. That's what he's awake. Now, if that is the awareness, what will he experience during lifetime? During lifetime, his feelings will be that his life is perfect and his life is complete. These are the feelings that he will have. Perfect and complete.
Prashant bhai, there are a few questions.
Sure, let me just complete this and it will be nice to hear the questions.
Yes, please.
So the larger feeling that this person has, someone in this consciousness, I'll just speak of these 10 words and try and reflect on these words. And that is that describes this consciousness. I'm talking here of the person who is awake, and it is not a long process, it is now. It can be maybe for a minute, but the soul is awake. And I will speak these 10 words. You may make note of it if you like, and definitely revisit. soul is saying this. He says his world is perfect. The angle from which he sees, he feels everything is good. His home is the best. Everything is good, perfect. Nothing need to change. Perfect has got this meaning. Nothing need to change. He feels his world is complete. Complete implies he is missing nothing. He feels it is full, and that means he is lacking nothing. He feels it is beautiful. His world. By this world, we are talking about invisible dimension, alaukic. It is not a physical world he is talking about. This invisible dimension, his world, his father, his home, his family, he feels it is perfect. Because everyone is soul conscious soul. In so home, supreme home, every aspect it is perfect, complete, full, beautiful. He feels he's lucky. At every level, he got, you know, a big thing. So he feels lucky. He feels every aspect is the best. He got a best father, best mother, best home. The feeling is that he got a best. He feels that his world is of love. Everyone is worthy of love, childlike, and loving. Life is of love. He's loved, worthy of being loved by God, and he loves God. This is his life. He feels his whole thing is secure, harmless. No one can interfere with this. Story cannot change his reality. It is secure. And this is also a very important feeling for us. And harmless, beyond harm. No one can harm his anything. Family himself is beyond harm. He understands the success because he knows the final score. Final score is everyone is going to come here. Even if they forget whatever, they will all reach here. So he knows the big success, ultimate of everyone, and this is forever, eternal. It is sometimes some people may have a nice short life, but it may be for 50 years. Here, this reality is forever. This is what he feels during his lifetime. And the word, whatever we use in a yogi, but these are the feelings he gets. That he is lucky, he got the best, he is a life of love. Now this is the consciousness with which he lives, and this is the consciousness with which he dies. What will be the result? If someone dies with this consciousness and is born, wherever he is born, he takes this consciousness with him, he is born with that consciousness, internally feeling that he is lucky, he got the best, he got perfect, he got perfect father, perfect mother, perfect companion. He feels the perfection and fullness and beauty and luck and love. This is the consciousness with which a person is born. It has to be very, very lucky, but also the best and complete. Yeah, excellent. I'm happy to take the questions and looking forward.
Thank you, Prashant bhai. Would like to share that this particular session, there are 45 souls in Turkey who are getting translated in their language. So the questions are from them. The first question is, what to do for going to the next life without impressions?
Impressions will go, but we want to create those positive impressions. That's why we said, the best thing we can do is don't create attachments in this temporary world. Because when we create attachments in the temporary world, impressions that are created are negative or loser, loss, whether it is body or anywhere, you create an impression. But when you, what we are saying now, alpha, beta, the soul remains awake. He knows that he is healthy, he is immortal, he is good, and his life is good. He got a best home, best father, best mother, best friend. He's in that experience. These impressions will go with him. We can't go without impression. Impressions will always be there.
Thank you, brother. The second question is, how would you interpret that I am, as a mother, hearing the sound of my child physically far away from me, calling me?
We were saying earlier, the experience of thoughts. Thought is a very real communication. There is one scientist who says, just as my hand can reach to the right now, can touch things. In the same way, at a non-physical level, our consciousness, it actually reaches the other person. It is as if his ears are reaching the other person. And so your thoughts reach the other person also, and their thoughts reach you. We are as if can reach other. There is no distance of space at that level.
Thank you, brother. The third question is, what would be the cause of schizophrenia?
That is a different area. That is more psychosis, and we are not really dealing with it. There are different explanations, but it is not the multiple personalities that we spoke of. Those with multiple personalities, they lead a very normal life. They have to adapt to these two personalities, but can lead a normal life.
Thank you, brother. The fourth question is, there is a system called family trauma therapy, Bert Hellinger method. Do you think it can be a solution to traumas?
Temporary. The ultimate answer is we have to step beyond the story. As long as we have made this story appear big, traumas, the impressions created inside are big. So the real answer is we see story as story. In the story, mouse comes, mouse goes. If I make it big, it becomes trauma. Mouse come, a trauma. And mouse goes, another trauma. When you understand this is a Mickey Mouse story, you are amused by it. You don't interpret it as trauma. That's the ultimate answer.
There's a second part of the same question. I have seen that my pregnant patient's child in the uterus did not have lower arm. The family panicked, but later on, they told me that the husband's sister have 3 fingers sticked to each other. So how can this be explained?
What in that part of the world, in case there is a war or there is some accidental deaths happening, then these injuries go from one life to the other life. And that is what was seen in these cases. They are independent, not coming from the auntie to another person, but the souls, from one life to the other life.
Sister Hilal wants to ask a question. Sister Hilal, you can unmute yourself and can kindly ask the question.
Actually, thank you very much. I have been doing the translation and I got help assistance from another sister, and she has already put it in writing form while I'm doing the translation on Skype to a group. Many thanks, Om Shanti. So questions are already asked in written form.
Hi, Hilal. Nice hearing from you.
Om Shanti, brother. Thank you. Om Shanti.
And any questions from India? And from Nigeria? Sound is okay? Sound is heard?
There is a question from a sister from London, and she's asking that you explained about going beyond the story. Can you please explain about it?
Sure. You know what has happened is, say, Robert is going to watch a Cinderella drama. Cinderella world is a fiction, is a story. And Robert has got his parents and his family. Robert has got his own life. He's watching the Cinderella drama for 1 hour. He should be beyond the drama. Even when he's watching, he shouldn't be crying for Cinderella because it is a drama and he got his world beyond. Don't forget your mummy and daddy. But whilst watching this drama, if he starts thinking, gets drawn into the drama more and more, and starts thinking that he's Cinderella himself and completely forgets Robert, completely forgets his parents and his life. And he is now drowning into the drama. He thinks he's Cinderella and it matters. There are problems, people are creating problems to him. He's thinking that way. That is a drop in consciousness. That is a huge drop. It is like a result of ignorance, but it is not just a little ignorance. It is a delusion. At present, we are leading a life of that kind. These angelic souls who got mummy and daddy and who are immortal from the supreme world, we are in this story. And we are now at present drowning in the story. The invisible souls, they've forgotten completely their world, their life, their parents, and they are worrying about Cinderella. So this is the situation. Once we understand it, the answer to this is step out of this. Understand this is a Cinderella story and things are happening in this. And it's a joke. Everything that is happening, beginning is also nice and end is also nice. There is a world beyond. Celebrate that world beyond. Then you are out of the story. That is what the whole message is. When we are hearing the word Nyara, when we are hearing the word be beyond and be detached, and the whole game is that, be soul conscious, unlimited vairagya, we have unlimited disinterest, forget the body, forget bodily relations, must come out of this Cinderella obsession and wake up to your truth and your life with mommy and daddy.
There's a question here, brother, from, yeah, that was asked by Sister Geeta, and she's very happy with the answer. There's another question from Kamlesh Naranji, and she asks that, any thoughts on people who take lives, and do they come back in the same family and when the soul is released?
What happens when anyone commits suicide? The unfortunate aspect in this, the suicide is only contemplated by ego. So one ego feels his needs are not met, and he doesn't worry about giving problems to the body or dying to the body for this little result, ego-based result. Sometimes to give sorrow to someone else even. He wants to, ego-based confusion and ego-based results. But ego is the one who conceives of suicide or commits suicide. And because it is ego-based, it becomes another sin. And on top of the old accounts, which is not settled, there is more account created. And journey continues in a lower social hierarchy. So it is a tragedy. This whole phenomena of suicide leads to a tragedy. Don't know too much about the research in this area. I don't know. So let us create a few minutes of attention and let us play with these ideas that we spoke just now.
There's this last question, Prashant bhai,
Mm-hmm.
before we get into meditation. The brother is asking from Lagos, Sadanand bhai, new sanskars can change the past life memories, is it?
Past life memories. Not just necessarily sanskaras, but just new impressions. whether it is past or a past life or past of this life, it is ongoing impressions created. So today I'm creating impressions. Now this becomes past. Today becomes past. By the time we reach tomorrow, today has become past. So right now we have the option to create the highest impressions. So those 10 things we spoke of, they are very high. If you come into this alpha beta and yogi experience and paying attention to these areas, they are the highest. That's why the super sensuous experiences, bliss experiences, love experience, immortality, it is all around the highest, most fulfilled. You lose nothing, lack nothing, miss nothing. This is what happens in that. So you are creating, you want to say, half an hour you are playing with this. Soul saying this, huh? Not the ordinary body, just not saying the words. It doesn't mean anything if just the words are said. But soul experiencing it, one who is beyond the story. Because these experiences have to be alaukic. So when someone creates this time, they become impressions inside. And they are replacing the old impressions. If you are very determined, then you can change the whole thing. Any kind of sanskaras, you can change them if someone is determined. So shall we come to this meditation experiment?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So during these minutes, we keep the body comfortable, consciously remind that we have the option of the best intellect. We can use Paras intellect. And with that, we see the whole physical world is a story. It becomes so obvious. Some episodes, beginning, end, that's the story. And beyond the story is the real world. This world is subtle and without limits. This is the world of light. This is also the home of the souls, family of souls. We see these souls in the image of invisible stars. Awake soul sees himself as an invisible presence. And the invisible soul visits this story world as an invisible traveler. He remains the invisible guest. And he has an exit. He's a guest in the story world and he has an exit. He comes out of the story world. What he is, he remains. Invisible guest, invisible traveler, invisible soul, He is just an observer of the story. He is the invisible actor in the story. But he is not part of the story. His world is completely separate. He is from the family of God, also in the image of a star like him. God is one who is always awake. He knows this truth in an obvious way. He knows the story as story. Knows himself being that star, being immortal. He knows himself being beyond the story always. Secure, carefree always. That's why being of bliss. Invisible traveler knows that he himself is without any bondage in the story, egoless, desireless, sorrowless. In the story, he has no desires, no sorrows. He's just a traveler. And hence, silently experiences that bliss and peace. He is aware that he is worthy to be loved by God. He knows he belongs to this family of God. He's from that dimension, God's world. He knows his truth is the best. As we continue on our journey, we remember our beautiful truth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prashant bhai. Thank you so much for sparing time and for answering with a lot of love to all of us. And there's also a request that kindly spare some more time when you're free for us.
Sure. Yeah, we'll organize our day soon.
Thank you so much, brother. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. And bye-bye to Nigeria, bye-bye to Turkey and India.
Om Shanti from Turkey. Thank you.
And also from London, there are souls from London, from Africa, different parts. To all those souls, I'm sure that you had a wonderful time all this time with Dr. Prashant Kakoday. In case if you want the audio, you can check with the YouTube link. Or if you want anything, you can kindly mention your email address in the chat box, or you can WhatsApp to this number, +234 810 6262 866.